Grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's take a trip back to 1974. A gloriously chaotic year where a singing nun shared the airwaves with a rushed kung fu novelty tune, a manufactured Beach Boys tribute act, and a British band that botched Chicago's geography entirely. Record buyers embraced every bit of it anyway. 15 dazzling songs clawed their way to the top that year, and for most of the artists behind them, that moment became their entire legacy. Sit back and see how many you still remember. Number 1. Seasons in the Sun, Terry Jacks.
But the hills that we climbed were just seasons out of time.
A dying man's farewell letter set to a wistful melody became, somehow, the second biggest anthem of 1974. Terry Jacks had adapted Seasons in the Sun from a darker Jacques Brel original, planning to give it to the Beach Boys. But when they abandoned it, Jacks finished the song himself, rewriting much of it as a real goodbye after a close friend died of leukemia. That rewritten version spent 3 weeks at number 1 that March.
I was the black sheep of the family.
Jacks released it on his own tiny Vancouver label, and it became Canada's best-selling single before Bell Records picked it up for the US. It stayed his only major American hit, but the song's haunting pull outlasted that. Kurt Cobain later admitted crying to it as a kid. From a farewell letter, our next hit comes from a singer who almost wasn't the one singing it. Number 2. Rock Your Baby, George McCrae. This one was supposed to be somebody else's song entirely. Producers Harry Wayne Casey and Richard Finch of Casey and the Sunshine Band built the demo around one of pop's earliest drum machines, intending the vocal for George McCrae's wife, Gwen. She never made it to the session on time, so George filled in on a whim, and that swap turned into 2 weeks at number 1 that July. McCrae, a former Navy sailor whose lounge act had gone nowhere, suddenly found himself fronting a sultry, groove-driven record that helped define disco before disco had a name. Because it sold over 11 million copies worldwide, far beyond anything he'd expected, it remained his only international hit. From a song built around a machine, our next one was thrown together in 10 leftover minutes with almost no plan at all. Number 3. Kung Fu Fighting, Carl Douglas. This one wasn't even meant to be heard. Producer Biddu needed a quick B-side, so he asked singer Carl Douglas for spare lyrics. Douglas handed him a punchy set about kung fu, inspired by 2 teenagers he'd seen shadowboxing on the street. And with only 10 minutes of studio time left, the whole thing got recorded in 2 takes. That afterthought made Douglas, a Jamaican-born session singer working in London, the first Jamaican-born artist ever to top the Billboard Hot 100, when Kung Fu Fighting hit number 1 that December. The throwaway B-side went on to sell 11 million copies, but since nobody had planned for it to be a hit, his follow-up singles never found the same audience. From a song built for laughs, our next hit came together on a borrowed organ in someone's living room. Number 4. I Can Help, Billy Swan.
I got 2 strong arms, I can help.
A borrowed organ, 2 takes, no overdubs. That's the whole recipe behind this sun-warmed, laid-back hit. Billy Swan wrote I Can Help at home on an RMI organ that friends Chris Christopherson and Rita Coolidge had given him as a wedding present. And that casual living room recording ended up topping both the pop and country charts that November.
Don't forget me, baby. All you gotta do is call.
Swan had spent years grinding away as a Nashville songwriter, even working briefly on Elvis Presley's Graceland estate, before this home recording gave him his break. Elvis returned the favor later, covering I Can Help himself and reportedly nailing it in 1 take. It remains Swan's one shining hit as a performer. From a song that took 2 takes to finish, our next one had already been recorded twice before it ever became a hit. Number 5. Hooked on a Feeling, Blue Swede. The Ooga Chaka chant everyone remembers wasn't even original to this record. Blue Swede borrowed it from a 1971 cover by Jonathan King, who'd taken it from a 1959 hit called Running Bear. Underneath it all sat a moody song Mark James wrote years earlier for B.J. Thomas, and once Blue Swede layered their euphoric chant on top, the mix rocketed to number 1 that April and stayed for weeks. Frontman Bjorn Skifs led the 7-piece Swedish band, who softened the original's drug references before recording it, worried the lyrics might get the song blacklisted. Blue Swede landed one more American Top 10 hit that year with a cover of Never My Love, so this wasn't quite their only success. From a chant borrowed from 3 songs deep, our next hit is a story that never actually happened. Number 6. The Night Chicago Died, Paper Lace.
They talk about it still.
British songwriters Peter Callender and Mitch Murray had never set foot in Chicago when they wrote this one, and it shows. The song describes a wildly dramatic shootout between police and Al Capone's gang on Chicago's East Side, a neighborhood that doesn't exist. Callender later admitted the pair had leaned on half-remembered gangster movies instead of any real research. That carelessness didn't stop the record. The Night Chicago Died hit number 1 that August, even after Paper Lace sent a copy to Chicago's mayor and his staff reportedly hated it. It became the British band's only real American hit, partly because their earlier song, Billy Don't Be a Hero, had already been scooped up by an American cover act. Chicago never had a night like that one. Our next city, at least, is getting an honest complaint about school rules. Number 7. Smoking in the Boys' Room, Brownsville Station. Written in about half an hour, based on nothing more dramatic than sneaking cigarettes at a movie theater as a teenager, this scrappy tune became one of the most enduring anthems about breaking small rules. Cub Koda and Michael Lutz wrote Smokin' in the Boys' Room so quickly that their own producer doubted it and initially refused to release it as a single. A radio station in Portland, Maine started playing it anyway, and once requests picked up, Brownsville Station rode the song to number 3 on the Billboard 100 that January. The Michigan trio landed one more minor hit, Kings of the Party, but it never matched this one's reach, so this stayed the song people remembered them for. From a song their own producer doubted, our next hit was mistaken for a completely different band altogether. Number 8. Beach Baby, The First Class. Plenty of listeners assumed this one was a lost Beach Boys track, and that was sort of the point. Songwriter John Carter and his wife Jill Shakespeare wrote Beach Baby as a sun-drenched homage to 60s California pop, and once a label picked up the demo, Carter brought in his friend, session singer Tony Burrows, to record the lead vocal in a single evening in London. Because The First Class wasn't really a band, just a studio project, it suddenly needed a touring lineup once the song hit number 4 that fall. Burrows had already sung lead on hits for other one-song acts, including Edison Lighthouse and White Plains, making him something like the era's secret king of one-hit wonders. From a band that barely existed, our next hit came from a man with a government day job. Number 9. Be Thankful for What You Got, William DeVaughn. William DeVaughn spent $900 of his own money to get a demo recorded, and the smooth, unhurried groove that came out of it glides so much like Curtis Mayfield that Be Thankful for What You Got is still sometimes mistaken for his record. That sound helped it climb to number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 that June and top the R&B chart. DeVaughn was a government drafting technician with a part-time singing habit, so Philadelphia's MFSB session players did most of the heavy lifting on the track. Because the song's message about appreciating what you have resonated far beyond the pop charts, it became a gospel radio fixture for years, even though DeVaughn himself never had another hit. From a government worker's demo, our next hit came from someone who'd taken a vow of poverty. Number 10, The Lord's Prayer, Sister Janet Mead. A Catholic nun entered the Billboard Hot 100 in early 1974, and almost nobody saw it coming. Sister Janet Mead had been quietly experimenting with electrifying rock arrangements for Mass in Adelaide. So when her label asked her to record a Donovan cover, she suggested The Lord's Prayer as the B-side, almost as an afterthought. That afterthought became the hit instead, climbing to number 4 during Holy Week and earning Mead a Grammy nomination, which she lost to Elvis Presley. Because she'd never set out to become a pop star in the first place, she donated her share of the royalties to charity, turned down offers to tour, and spent the rest of her life teaching and advocating for the homeless in Australia. From a prayer set to rock and roll, our next hit is a plea to come home. Number 11, Please Come to Boston, Dave Loggins.
Settle down. Boston ain't your kind of town.
Dave Loggins wrote this one about the pull between chasing a dream and the person who wants you to come home, drawing on his own years crisscrossing the country as a touring musician. That road-worn restlessness struck a nerve. Please Come to Boston reached number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100 that August and topped the easy listening chart on its own quiet charm.
You can sell your paintings on the sidewalk.
Loggins, a cousin of the better-known Kenny Loggins, never matched that solo success again, though the songwriting career he built afterward became his real legacy. His biggest hit of all might actually be the theme song he later composed for the Masters Golf Tournament, still used decades on, even though Boston remained his only hit as a singer. From a song about wandering, our next one is about a fantasy that never left the desert. Number 12, Midnight at the Oasis, Maria Muldaur.
Shining just for us.
Maria Muldaur nearly left this song off her debut album, tossing it on almost as an afterthought at the last minute. Midnight at the Oasis, written by David Nichtern, wrapped its flirtatious, shimmering desert imagery around such a delicate guitar arrangement that the addition climbed to number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 that June.
Real soon and kick up a little dust.
Muldaur, a veteran of the Greenwich Village folk scene who'd once shared stages with Bob Dylan, scored one more minor hit the next year with I'm a Woman, so this wasn't quite her only chart appearance. Even so, because nothing else she recorded captured listeners the same way, that one desert love song remained the height of her chart impact. From a song added at the last minute, our next hit was recorded by a band that didn't actually exist yet. Number 13, Life is a Rock, but the Radio Rolled Me, Reunion. Reunion wasn't a band so much as an idea. Producer Paul DeFranco gathered studio musicians and jingle singer Joey Levine for a rapid-fire tune crammed breathlessly with more than 90 references to musicians, songs, and DJs across 3 decades of pop history. To capture that machine gun delivery, they recorded Life is a Rock but the Radio Rolled Me in one take, skipping rehearsal so it wouldn't sound too polished.
Baby, gotta, gimme, getting out of Sandy, stroking Leslie Gore, Richie Valens, and the story of my enthusiasm.
The song reached number 8 on the Hot 100 that November, with Levine's delivery becoming the whole joke. He'd already sung lead on the Ohio Express's Yummy 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 and wrote jingles for Pepsi and Dr. Pepper. But Reunion, true to its start, never released anything else as a group. From a band assembled for one song, our next hit came from a group accused of copying somebody else's melody. Number 14, Eres Tu, Mocedades. Spain had never placed a song this high on the American charts, and it remains one of the only fully Spanish-language songs to crack the Billboard Top 10. Eres Tu, a sweeping ballad, finished second at Eurovision 1973, and some critics accused songwriter Juan Carlos Calderón of borrowing its melody from a Yugoslav entry, a claim the band always brushed aside. That controversy did nothing to slow it down. Mocedades, the group from Bilbao, watched the song climb to number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100 that spring, translated into dozens of languages along the way. In the United States, it remained their only major hit, even as the group kept recording for decades back home in Spain. From a song accused of sounding too familiar, our final hit borrowed its title from a phrase about sex. Number 15. Rock and Roll, Hoochie Coo, Rick Derringer. Rick Derringer originally wrote this one for someone else. He gave Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo to Johnny Winter's band in 1970, hoping to nudge Winter's gritty blues sound towards something more radio-friendly. But Winter's version barely registered, so 3 years later, Derringer decided to record it himself instead. This time it climbed to number 23 on the Billboard Hot 100 that spring. Derringer already had a teenage hit behind him from the McCoys' Hang On Sloopy back in 1965, and he kept working behind the scenes for years afterward, producing records like Edgar Winter's Frankenstein. Even so, as a solo performer, Hoochie Coo remained as high as he ever climbed on the charts again, though it became a fixture of classic rock radio for decades to come. 15 songs, one impossibly eclectic year, and almost none of it makes sense side by side. A nun, a fake surf band, a B-side nobody planned on, all sharing the same countdown. Most of these artists never came close to the top again, yet each one left behind a record that still gets recognized within its opening seconds. Thanks for spending this time with us. Which one caught you off guard? Let us know in the comments and subscribe for more trips through the charts.